Hello, everybody, and welcome to International Women's Day. We've actually made it International Women's Week here at Leicester College, just because we like to go big and do things even bigger than everyone else. So I'm Sharon, I work for the SET team, and I have some colleagues with me today who I would like to speak to, and I'm sure you really want to hear what they've got to say with my fantastic questions. We'll be really, really simple, really relaxed. Let's have a nice chat like women always do. The only thing I think we haven't got is a drink of whichever variety. By the side. Oh, no, we have. That's a protein shake, I think. Oh, brilliant. So I'll introduce our guests in a moment, but just to give you a little bit of information about what we're doing in terms of Leicester College, about celebrating International Women's Day. It's a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women, the focal points in the movement for women's rights. So what we've decided to do is do lots of different things so that it keeps you interested in celebrating what women can achieve. There's lots of things happening this week on Moodle, so you can log into your Leicester College account and go to the Moodle page for SET. We have activities, we have well-being, we've got the student union, we have the chaplaincy giving advice and support. And we also have physical things, so you've got exercise programs on there and there's little tips on hair and beauty, which we can all do with at the moment. And it's just a nice time for women to get together. And on Friday, it'd be really, really good if everyone could just celebrate those women who have gone before us, are here today, appreciate them, respect them, but also for the women to come. So that would be a great thing for us to just focus on for women today. So without further ado, I would like to ask a few questions. So we'll start with Verity, if that's okay. Verity is our principal of Leicester College. It's our first day officially back open today. Now, Verity, how easy has it been? And I will use the word easy because we want to be positive about what women can achieve if they put their minds to it. What have been your, if you like, your the points in your career that you feel have been the most successful, and why?
Most successful? Well, I mean, one of my really big early successes was getting into Oxford. I mean, that was absolutely massive. I went to a comprehensive school, and didn't really have an enormous amount of special preparation. I didn't do brilliantly. I did well, but really I was lucky enough to still be. You could do an entrance exam, and I also was lucky enough to pick the right college. And there was a very young admissions tutor who was really keen to get more women from state schools. And so, I mean, that was a huge deal for me because it lifted me up to, one of the best universities and got me in touch with, an incredible variety of Oxford's much more mixed than people might think, and a huge variety of people, many of whom are still my closest friends today, and just opened all sorts of doors for me. So that was definitely a really big thing, and well done to the school and to my family who helped me get there. I think another really big thing was when the government decided to create the Learning and Skills Council. And that was back, for those who remember it was back in 1999, I think. And it was sort of 2 years into the Blair government. And they decided to create this sort of national body that would, fund and drive further education. And it was divided into 47 areas. And I went up against my then boss to head up an area. And I think everyone expected the man to get the job, but he didn't. I got it because I'd spent an enormous amount more time building relationships with further education and doing my homework and working really hard. And he just thought he'd get he was a nice person, but he just thought he'd get the job. He thought it was his right. And I thought he'd probably get the job as well, but I thought there was no harm done in going for it. Anyway, I got the job, and I was the youngest executive director of the Learning and Skills Council in the country. David Hughes, who's now the chief executive of the Association of Colleges, he was the second youngest. I don't think he's ever forgiven me for being younger than him. So, and that was a really, really big deal. And then I was in charge of a whole office and 100 staff and, a strategy for further education in an area. And that was a fantastic career changing career move. And then finally, I would obviously pick this one, but it was I decided to leave. The Learning and Skills Council became something else, and I had a bad experience when I was on maternity leave, actually, of not being really feeling supported and included as much as I should have been. And I just decided that really after years I needed to do something else. And I was still in that position of thinking. We'd moved out of London up to East Midlands, and the job of principal of Leicester College came up, and someone rang me up and said, you should apply. And I said, I don't think I should. I don't think I know enough. And they said, of course you do. So I thought it was just going to be a good exercise to sort of have the experience of applying and an interview. And it got to the end of the first day, and I just thought, no, I actually really want this job, and I don't think that any of the other people here want it, actually. And I was on to the second day, and it was absolutely fantastic to have the confidence of governors and be offered the job. And that was back in 2012, at the end of 2012. And of course, now you would expect me to say this, but it's genuine. This has been, the absolute best job in the whole world and the crowning achievement of my career. And I'm so, so glad that I took that step, that I got fed up with the civil service and decided to come, because it is working actually in further education and working in a college is just one of the best things you can possibly do, I think. Very challenging as well.
Yes, but I think we do need to challenge ourselves as individuals, as females. We have many other challenges that we have to face on a daily basis, one of which is just work, balancing your home life. If you have children, then that's also another thing that one has to make sure that you get right, if we can. And therefore, is it possible to have a high profile, high flying career, be a mum, do exactly what you want to do in life, do your exercise, look great? Is it possible to do all of those things? Absolutely. Of course it is. Well, just, hey, look at me.
Anything possible, but it is very, very hard work. And it depends on your circumstances, doesn't it? And I married somebody who decided that his time had come to be at home. And that doesn't mean he didn't work. He's an artist, and he decided to stop being a teacher and work from home. So I had childcare on tap, and somebody who was always there. If your boiler breaks down and someone needs to come mend the boiler, there's somebody there to let the boiler man in. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And whether it would have been the same if I hadn't had that, I don't know. I really don't know. It wasn't for us.
Yeah, and I think everybody's situation is different. This pandemic has shown us that we can actually fit everything in. We can do what we want to do and what we want to achieve. It's not a negative. It's not been very nice, of course, but we've had great support from our college, and our students have had fantastic support from people all around the college, curriculum, support services, and counselling. So actually, I think it's a positive that everyone has worked so well together, whether that's online, those of staff members that have gone in, students that have been able to go in. I just think as a positive, we've managed it, and women, a lot of our women have been at the forefront of that. So thank you. Tina, can I ask you a question, please? And is it okay to say that you won't be with us? Sorry, you will be with us, but you won't be with us for very much longer at the college?
it's fine, Sharon. Yes, I'll be retiring at the end of this academic year after 29 years working in FE.
Wow.
So, yeah, long time. And I guess I was just reflecting on what Verity said, and my situation is quite different because I came from a very working class farming family where education for females was not recognised. You know, girls worked on the land many years ago and education was quite low profile. But what that did provide me with was the work ethic that I believe has carried me through the years. But I left school with very few qualifications. And I was an adult with children, married, had a small family when I returned to learn. And I was motivated to do that through actually coming to the college and having some science lessons with a female science teacher. And that was rare when I was at school. The teachers were male. You know, it was a male French teacher, it was a male geography teacher, it was a male science teacher. But it was actually a female science teacher teaching science. And that inspired me to go on and study science at university. And I guess that was a platform motivated by the fact that I wanted to do well for my family. But more importantly, I've got girls. I have 2 daughters who I'm incredibly proud of. And I wanted to be a role model for them. So I wanted them to see firsthand that you could be what you wanted to be. And at that time, with a young family, I wanted to be a science teacher. And that's what I did. I went back to college to do A-levels, then on to university to do a degree in science. And there were lots of hurdles and challenges, as you can imagine, not least with a young family. And I remember doing biochemistry and after 6 weeks just thinking, I can't do this anymore. My daughter, who was a 1-year-old, had got measles. I had an 8-year-old at school. And one of the lecturers, and it was, you know, I think we have to give credit to the men who have been inspirational in our lives too. And I remember him taking me into a room, the professor who was teaching that, and he said, you know, you can do this. You're smarter than you think, and you can do it. And I've lived my career by that, and certainly have brought my daughters up to think that they can achieve anything they want to achieve. So some pivotal moments really. The education, absolutely critical. Yeah. And then moving through the college to the various jobs, and there have been challenges and times when it's been really difficult, and Verity touched on having a well-balanced home life, and that is absolutely critical, I think, for women, certainly, in that, you know, if your home life is settled and there are few distractions, you can focus on work. And those distractions can be children, they can be health, they can be bereavement, and they can be study and continuing to develop your skills whilst you're working is a challenge. But yeah, no, I've had a very fulfilling career working in education, and I know that I've been a role model to my daughters, and I hope that to some of the people that I've worked with, some of the females that I've worked alongside, that I now know have moved through into higher level jobs, that I've helped to motivate and encourage them and draw out their strengths, worked on their strengths, and they too have become successful women in education.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you very much for that heartfelt comments about your career and where you started. But also it gives us inspiration that wherever we've come from, our diverse backgrounds, the people that we've encountered in the past, the negatives and the positives that people have said to us and we've had to face. All of us have got, most of us have got children, and I've got 2 daughters and 2 sons, and I will certainly be pushing them through education with love and making sure that they achieve what they want to achieve and not what I want to achieve. But thank you very much for that. It's going to be a massive loss for Leicester College when you go. And I have to say, I don't really think your retirement age, I think you're just taking it early so you can be a glam.
I am retirement age. Thank you for that.
Oh, bless. So as I said, we are a very diverse college. In fact, Leicester is the most diverse city in the whole of Europe. So we are incredibly lucky to have all the people that we work with, but all the students that we encounter on a daily basis. And because of that diversity, Rominder has got a great job, because Rominder has to look after a lot of the diverse people that come through our college for courses, many of which are females. So Rominder, when you started doing your job, was it a challenge with the language, with, sort of coming here and learning about the culture, and also your learners, your female learners, when they come into your department?
Yes, Sharon. I mean, we work with around students from 70 different countries. So it's such a privilege to work with such diverse student body. And we learn so much from our students on a daily basis. For me personally, yes, I mean, I have been fortunate in a way that my very first job was as an ESOL teacher, a part-time ESOL tutor. From then I went on to become what's now called like a program lead equivalent in ESOL, and then a program area manager, and now this current role. That's because I've had very, very supportive colleagues, very supportive managers, and lovely students as well, who have taught me so much, so many things. And if it hadn't been for all these people, I probably wouldn't have been here, because I wouldn't have gathered the life experience. I was very young when I started my first role. I was 21 years old, that's all. And so they have all worked together to shape my career, and they are sort of, they brought me here basically, and I'm ever so sort of grateful for that, for all the support I've had from different people. In terms of my own, like you talked about, I mean, my own experiences. I was fortunate that my dad always thought, and my mom, that education was important. There was no way around it. You had to go to college, had to go to university. So we did all of that. But along with that, my parents also sort of said that, if you want to do something extra, you should. And I was very much interested in sport. My sister was as well at that time. And I remember that my dad would take us to sports grounds and for practice. He'd come from work and take us for practice. And I wasn't going to be a sprinter. It was very obvious. I wanted to be, but I did not have I was well built. I wasn't skinny. I wasn't slim. I wasn't fast. I wasn't agile. But my dad let me try. So I was always trailing 10 meters behind my sister. She was a fast runner, very fast sprinter. But he kept encouraging me to go for it, kept encouraging me to try. And eventually when I realized that I was never going to be a sprinter, he said, okay, very tactfully, he said, let's try doing discus throw, for example, with you. So he started so instead of saying, oh, this is not good for you, you can't do running, he said, let's try another sport, which seemed to be perhaps more suited to how I was built, and more matching with my fitness level as well. So it's just that showed, I mean, that generated an interest in sport, and now that sort of inspires me to do something in that field for my students as well, and for my children. And it's also increased my appreciation of sport, for example. So it was a culture where women, girls should have the opportunity to try what they wanted to, and they should go for their dreams. So I think I've been fortunate in that sense, but I'm equally aware that not everyone has that opportunity, and we have students who have difficulties in sense. I mean, they do not get the support from home, and they're still having to fight lots of social injustice, which makes you sad. So things that were happening 25 years ago are still happening. And that makes you stand, and you think, there's a constant sort of conflict, that have I done enough to support these students, to obtain sort of the right environment, the right opportunities for them, and you know that you have, and you know that you've given it your 100%. But I think being a manager in this role, you're constantly thinking that for all the diverse communities, particularly for our young students and for women, is there more that we can do?
Absolutely. I think it's why we have to celebrate International Women's Day here at Leicester College, because we are so diverse. We have lots and lots of different people that come through our doors. And I would encourage anybody that's listening to join one of our courses. Encourage your sisters, your friends, your aunties, anybody who you think has got the potential. Just encourage them. We have so many courses available, not just the one that you are on or your friends, but also, let's get into construction. We've got hair and beauty. We have got absolutely so many courses, something for everything. And I think that's the beauty about Leicester College, is that you are welcome here, whichever curriculum you go into, whichever course you choose. And we've got fantastic support here for women, for everyone. In terms of your other needs, as well as educational and academic. So I'd just like to ask a quick snippet from everyone, because we're sort of coming towards the end of our live session. What would be a few choice words, if you like, that you would use as encouragement for any of our females listening in today, or who will play back this session? What would be the things, that the kind of key words that you would think, right, take these on board, remember these words, and take your careers forward? Say a couple of words just from everybody. Verity, could we start with you, please?
Okay, well, I'll take one of our values and talk about ambition. I think sometimes people think that ambition has to be a very male thing, that men are ambitious, and that ambition is about being aggressive and thrusting, and isn't a good thing. Ambition doesn't have to be aggressive. You can be ambitious for yourself and your family, and we've heard a bit about that today already, in a very, in a way that is very appropriate to women, very successful. But you've got to have that ambition, that will to kind of go on and do the next thing and the next thing. And that's certainly what's kept me going. I've never seen it as a bad thing or a male thing. It's absolutely as much a female thing, and it needs to be celebrated a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there something you could have said to yourself when you were, back at Oxford, not Oxford, Cambridge even? Is there something that you would have said to yourself at that stage that you would have remembered today?
I think I turned up at Oxford. It was Oxford. I turned up at Oxford with quite feeling inferior, because, I'd been to a state school, which most other people hadn't, and I also had, I didn't have fabulous A-level grades, and I think when I turned up, I was shy, and I didn't have an enormous amount of self-belief, and it dawned on me over the first year that actually I was pretty much as good as anybody else. I had a really good education. I had a really good mind. I had a perfectly good set of experiences, in fact, probably more than a lot of them had had. And, there was no need for me to feel inferior, in any way. And it would have been good if I'd realised that even a bit earlier.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Tina.
Hi. I reflect back to when I was first appointed as a manager, which is many years ago now. But I remember my line manager at the time, who was female, saying to me, be the best person that you can, and don't try to ever be anybody else. And I think that's something I would say to any females, any male actually, not just females, is be the best that you can. Access all the opportunities that are available for you, and if we think about one of our values, as Verity just mentioned, if we think about excellence as a value, they're all things that we can draw on. So be the best that you can. It's okay to make mistakes, but reflect on those mistakes. And I've made a number in my career. And sometimes so long as you reflect, and I'm a big believer in self-talk. So I might say or do something, I'll reflect on that action, and I'll have a bit of a chat with myself afterwards, and move on. Don't get hung up on things that haven't gone right. So access education, obviously, I think that's a platform for everybody. It's okay to make mistakes. Be the best version of yourself that you can, and not try to be somebody else. And as a professor once said to me, you're smarter than you think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that about being yourself. And I think everyone should celebrate the difference that we have that brings us all together. And also try to encourage others. Just pull people along with you, because we can't do everything. We can't be everything to everyone. And it's just lovely when you take people along with you. Rominder, you got any thoughts on that?
Well, yes. I mean, if any choices that you've made and you feel that's the right choice, you have to go for it, and do not let anyone tell you that this is not for you. We've had such good examples over the years of students who've gone on to achieve so much, managing family life, managing a part-time job, and then actually going on to do well in their courses and passing exams and achieving well. I mean, they are the true women who actually inspire us. And if those students could do it, you can do it as well. And yes, just follow your dream and you can do it. Just have confidence in your ability, in your knowledge, in your skills, and just go for it. So I think just do not let the world tell you that you can't do it because you're a woman or you're a girl and you are not good enough for a role. Just don't let the world tell you that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The theme around International Women's Day this year is hashtag choose to challenge. So their strapline, if you like, which is really, really important for our students to hear, is a challenged world is an alert world. And from challenge comes change. So let's all change and choose to challenge. And it's just a lovely thing for people to sort of have around all the time. We must challenge, but we must do it respectfully and with kindness. And I think the pandemic has shown us all, hasn't it? Whether we're staff members, whether we're students, mothers, daughters, whatever we may be in life, is you do it with kindness and respect. And it just goes a long way. Even a smile, when a woman smiles, it's just lovely. It's lovely to see a woman to a woman smile as well. And I think you're absolutely right, everyone. We're in education. We want our learners and our students to be encouraged to move forward. And not academic studies is for everybody, as we know. And the beauty about Leicester College is that we are a vocational place of learning. So we have something for everyone. So if if you don't like exams, it doesn't matter. We have other facilities and other courses available. And I think we should just try to encourage that in our ladies and females that we meet during the course of this week, is that education is key in whichever form, to be able to make our careers better and the best that we can be, as Tina has said. Malala Yousafzai, I think I've pronounced her name correctly, forgive me if I haven't, has a quote. Now, Malala, as we know, she's now a Nobel Peace Prize winner. At the age of 17 in 2014, she received that. And 2 years prior to that, so she would have been 15, she was shot in the head by the Taliban in a place in Pakistan. She survived that, and obviously she then went on to be an advocate, a very strong advocate of women's rights to education. And her dad was really pushing her for that as well. And one of her quotes, which is a beautiful line, it's extremists have shown what frightens them the most, and that is a girl with a book. So in terms of education, I think there's no more powerful words than when someone is faced with something so important to them being taken away, and for them to take it with both hands and move forward. And I think that's an excellent example of what you can achieve. But in terms of our learners, I hope that they'll be able to listen in on this today, to listen and hear what the ladies have said in this brief time about their careers. And I still can't believe, Tina, that you're going to go. It's going to be a great loss to us. But we have a very strong female management team, and I think it could be stronger. Definitely could be stronger, because we have some fantastic ladies who work at Leicester College, here to support you in all different sorts of fields, whether they're teachers or support staff. And you as students, you know, you have the ability to do what you want to do, and the facilities are here for you. When I was growing up, we never had a lot of this. But now you can walk into an FE college like ours and feel welcome and feel included and feel that you are going to make a difference in what you do and your qualification that you obtain, whichever way that is. So I would just like to thank all of our interviewees today. Verity, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tina, thank you, and good luck, and relax with your hot tub and your glass of whatever it is that you drink. I'm sure you'll be doing that glamorously. And sad to see you go. And Rominder, thank you very much. I've worked very closely with Rominder on many, many different projects, and ESOL is a fantastic department to work with. So words of encouragement for our learners is Happy International Women's Day and Week at Leicester College. Join in with our activities. We're here for you. If you want someone to talk to, or you want to just log in, go to Moodle and have a superb week. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you,
Sharon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.